Hey, Cryptic here. I'm going to try a scripted video today, so if I sound scripted, that's why. First off, I'd like to say that next week's video may be my last scheduled video for a while. I am starting classes back up this week for fall, and I need to know I can handle my schoolwork before I can go and try to add more on. The subject winner for this week's speed art is Maka. The topic winner is an OC review, our fourth in a row. And that means I will no longer be adding OC reviews to the topic poll. What I will be doing though is that because OC reviews have become so popular, I'll basically just make a separate series for strictly just OC reviews. The OC who won the draw is Stardust, owned by a user currently going by Starry Songbird on the Soul Eater Amino group. As always, links will be left in the description box. Stardust is a human weapon whose real name is Hazel Cole. She is a 16-year-old woman, 5'5", and weighing about 143 pounds. Her weapon form is a rapier. Stardust's bio is in a more literal style. I'll be reading a lot straight from the bio sheet. Her human form is described as this. In terms of appearance, Stardust is the type of girl that does not stick out from the crowd. She has short, shoulder-length brunette hair with a slight sprinkle of red highlights visible in the sunlight. Her facial structure is even and almost perfectly symmetrical, with freckles and a small scar on her forehead, throwing off the balance. She has hazel eyes that seem to change color depending on how the light hits them. One moment, stunning green, the next, slightly brown. And her left eyelid droops ever so slightly if seen in close proximity. She is neither lean nor stocky, though she sports decent muscles on her arms, legs, and abdomen. Stardust usually does not choose to dress up, though she does wear a school uniform when she attends classes and partakes on missions. Her uniform is simple, a pleated green and brown battle skirt, green high top Converse, a simple white short sleeve button-up shirt, and a Lord Death leather jacket. Her formal attire consists of her Converse and a simple emerald dress that stops right above her knees. Her casual attire is made up of a leather jacket, pretty much any t-shirt she can find, her Converse, and denim shorts. Okay. I would like to applaud the author because that was very well written, and her physical form seems very natural and real. She feels like someone I could meet when, out on the town. Typical yet unique, like actual day-to-day people we see in real life. Stardust's weapon form is described as this. Stardust takes the form of a rapier, which is a thin sword, in case you don't know what a rapier is. Her black blade is wickedly sharp and thin, optimized for perfectly accurate and lethal attacks. Her hilt is lime green and dark gray, with an elaborate decor that branches off to surround her Meister's hand. I'm really into the weapon design. You don't see rapiers really be selected as, sword form wise. We typically see like long swords that are more knightly in appearance, or samurai swords, so it's a good change. The colors are very interesting choices. The bright green is a bit peculiar, but it makes the hilt really stand out. The only part, with her physical clothing, she does match her weapon form, just maybe possibly instead of any t-shirt she can find, just also make it green, but at least green in detail, but of course that's a small thing. It seems to be a common theme that weapons purposefully match their weapon forms for, aesthetic purposes. I do see that in her example. She's wearing a white shirt and she's got green shorts and green shoes. The green shoes matches her weapon form. I suggest it might look slightly better maybe if it was black shoes and a green shirt. Maybe keep the green shoes and then have a black shirt. I'm not sure. but it's a small detail. It's not that important. Yeah. Her history is as follows. Stardust was born under the name Hazel Cole. She was an only child in a normal human city with your average run-of-the-mill parents. She participated in many sports, but excelled in fencing. She enjoyed growing up with her family and going to school with her friends until she was 13 years old. When her father's small business went under, he turned to alcohol and started to change. After a year, he started picking fights with her mother. After 2, he started to get violent. In the 3rd year, Hazel started having to defend herself. During one such incident, her arm transformed into a blade, and thus she discovered her other form. Luckily, no injuries came from this enlightenment. Her mother decided that she would have to go to the DWMA because of the scholarship and because she believed Hazel deserved to lead a better life. Her father agreed reluctantly, and so she packed up and moved out. When she arrived at her new school, she immediately filled the paperwork to get a stage name approved. Thus, Stardust was born. So, basically, average home, her sport was fencing, family became dysfunctional for a understandable reason. I really enjoy and respect how she found out about her weapon abilities. It kind of reminds me of, I think her name is Tsugumi. I'm not really that big of a fan of Sleet or Not, but as we see through that part of the story, how weapons, figure out they're a weapon is really varied, and it's kind of like random or by chance, mostly influenced by emotion, feelings of danger, like Tsugumi, I think I might be getting her name wrong. She trips, and so her body basically goes into defense mode or something. So for Hazel, she went into defense mode, and that's how she found out. I also like her stage name detail. Surprisingly, I don't see much OCs who take advantage of stage names. It seems pretty ignored most of the time. Like Soiter has a stage name. Tsugumi, I think, is Internal Feather. I'm not sure if Pot of Fire and Pot of Thunder, if those are stage names or if that is literally what they go by. But it doesn't seem like stage names are really all that paid much attention to. So I like that she actually has a stage name. Stardust's personality. Stardust is soft-spoken, but when she feels like it, she can cut loose and be the life of the party. Her eyes catch most movements both in and out of battle due to a developed habit of staying away from her father during his drunken stupor. In other words, she can be a bit jumpy. She treasures her friends like they are her second family and can be a bit protective if they ever have any problems. She is a good student who loves history and literature. Complex calculations and science are her weak points. Often, she will get flustered while talking to strangers and completely word vomit at random intervals throughout a conversation. Along with this, she often loses confidence in herself. Although, ask her about something she likes, and she can get very fired up and passionate. She's a total tomboy. Okay, so the only thing I recommend about the personality section is maybe reword or rethink the first sentence. The first sentence seems like a very overused trait. I'm guilty of it too. So a lot of people use the oh, this character, she's quiet, but when she feels like it, she's not. It's not really like a stereotype. It's more of like a trope. I think it's used so often because it tends to kind of be an introvert cliche. Most writers tend to be soft-spoken, so when they start to get stumped and they're looking for ideas for writing their character's personality, they look towards themselves and they're like, well, I'm quiet, except for when I'm not. So, of course you don't have to remove it or alter it in any way. Also, nothing really sticks out as an actual, error or continuity mistake or, out of place, something that just doesn't fit. Just a small suggestion with maybe varying that part up a little bit. Her skills and traits. Well, skills and abilities. She is an excellent fencer both in and out of her weapon form. She secretly loves singing but does not believe she is good enough for anyone to hear. In her spare time, she enjoys reading, bowling, and working out. I think these all make sense. They're short and sweet and to the point. Her fighting style. Stardust can be partially independent while fighting. She can transform her right arm into a blade and can use her knowledge of fencing to fight alone. However, her individual movements are limited because her elbow also transforms, resulting in just a straight-facing rapier. She has to rely on quick footwork and well-timed lunges. With a partner, despite her thin surface, she can block heavy blows from an opponent as well as complete jabs and stabs with pinpoint accuracy. I really like how you've elaborated on her fighting styles. She feels like she could be a legitimate character, and this section in particular really brings her to life in my mind. Because with other characters, you kind of have to make it up for yourself. You don't include it in their bios. For example, my bios happen not to include their fighting styles. This allows me to picture in my head kind of like I can see her fighting. It really brings it to life. Now, the last section of the bio sheet is a brief list of some of her personal possessions. The leather jacket, for example, which I believe was mentioned before, was a gift from Hazel's parents. It was given as a parting gift, which I think is cute, and it's a really sentimental detail. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, she is in the not class, which I think is pretty smart, seeing as how she's a newer student. A lot of people, they forget that the not class even existed, and they just jump into EAT. They're like, I'm a new student, and I'm already in NEAT class. But this makes sense. Overall, I think the only things I suggested possibly altering is her clothing, just a tad, and a small, very, very small section of her personality. I personally think a character's written details, dialogue, personality, and actions are a little more important than their visual design, especially if the medium that the character is within is simply written words like a book. So I believe you would be perfectly fine if you left her original clothes be. I think you, sorry Songbird, did a very good job with making a balanced and believable character. It feels like she could be very relatable, and I don't know what your plans are for this character, but I have a strong feeling she could be cleverly used to portray important life lessons.